Hello cozy artists, my nickname is Ray Claire, this is Tuna, and this is Apricot. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome back to my channel. So in this video I'll just be discussing the artist dates that I went on with my friends. And for two of us, this was our first time trying out Impressionist painting. And our other friend, she mainly does Impressionist style painting, whereas me and my other friend, we try to make our paintings look more realistic. But we found that at the end of this exercise that it really did benefit us because we started looking at objects, and this technique helped us to put our art in a new perspective, and it was lots of fun. So I started off by prepping off the canvas, and I also painted the sides as well. I let that dry, and then according to the tutorial that we followed, I tried outlining where the tree would be. And I didn't film too much while I was hanging out with them, so these first few shots will just be pictures of our process over there, but I'll be jumping in to painting. So I finished the rest of the painting at home, all of us did, and I will also link the tutorial that we followed. It's from another YouTube channel, an art YouTube channel, and I'll link that right above, and also in the description below. So right now you see, so we did 2 art sessions at my friend's house, and then right now I'm just adding the finishing details. And after we finished doing this painting, we were pretty happy with how it came out. My canvas was a lot smaller than my friend's canvases though. I was meant to get a bigger one, but it ended up being a pretty good painting, so it was fine for my first time trying Impressionist painting. It was also my first time painting with friends. Usually, well, the first time I would do painting was obviously in high school, and it would be for assignments, and you're in a classroom and you're all painting with your peers. But after graduating high school, and if ever I did decide to paint, it was just on my own. And creating any type of art for years since school was on my own. So it was a lot of fun getting together with friends, like fellow artists who just enjoy being creative and painting for the fun of it. There's no competition, there's no grades, and it was a lot of fun. I didn't show their paintings because I didn't ask for permission, so I didn't want to take the liberty of showing their paintings, but it was interesting to see how, even though we all followed the same tutorial, each of our paintings came out really different. But that was really cool, we each thought, and we all liked each other's different paintings. That does remind me that in high school that we would all sometimes be drawing the same still life, and each of our drawings would come out a little bit differently, which is another cool thing about art. Different artists will see different things and have different skills, and will incorporate that into their art, and it's really interesting. We plan on continuing doing these art dates. It's just that each of us have different things going on in our lives, so we're not always consistently painting together. And we understand each other's circumstances. But it's still fun when we can all make time in our schedules and paint together. We do have another art project that we're planning to do together. If we do get to it, I will make a video about that and I'll post it soon enough. I also have a membership page on my website, rayclairedulune.com, and on there I shared a blog about the art date that we had. And on that membership page there are exclusive webcomics that I do, tuna and apricot webcomics that I do, and I also offer free webcomics on my website too. So you can check that out if you like. I've been debating about making this painting into a print or not. I do have some other paintings that I've done that at one point I was selling printable art of it on my website. So I'm debating about whether or not to do that again. Lately I've been focusing more on creating my webcomics and my comic zines, but I do like branching out in my art. I don't like being boxed in on one type of art, so I do like painting every now and then. Most of my other paints, my other paintings have been watercolor. I only got into watercolor recently, like during the pandemic. Before that, I did mostly acrylics, especially in high school, just because they're less finicky. And I do have some other art supplies that I would like to try out too. I haven't done oil pastels since I was in elementary, so I might do that again sometime, we'll see. But yeah, I enjoy trying out different art mediums. I don't like when art feels stale to me, and I also like writing books for that reason. I've been working on some novels in the background, as you probably heard in some of my previous videos, and that's just another creative exercise that my brain likes to do. Another thing about this tutorial, originally, as you can see in the picture, it's actually supposed to be an autumn scene, so the tree is supposed to be red. And the beginning process, you are supposed to do pink and purple, but me and my friends, as soon as we saw how pretty the pink and the purple were, we just decided to leave it looking like a cherry blossom tree instead of a maple tree in the autumn. So we each changed our landscapes to be more spring-like. Another thing that I noticed between me and my friends, one of them can finish her art projects really quickly. She'll ask me, "Oh, did you finish your painting already?" And I'm like, "No." For me, it can be weeks in between finishing paintings, maybe even months. And not just paintings, but other art projects that I have. It also has to do with the fact that I have so many different projects that I'm working on at the same time, and there will be times when I want to focus on one, and so the other projects will be left behind or neglected. And then when I finish that project, then I'll move on to the next one. And it's just a long queue of different things that I want to work on. And they also get postponed because, again, life, different circumstances pop up and I have to accommodate those. And so art kind of gets shoved into the background sometimes too. So I'll go weeks in between creating or finishing an art project, whereas my friend, she really needs to constantly be pumping out different art projects, and I find that so interesting because I am very different from that. You can share in the comments section what your work style is with your art projects. And also, I'm curious to know if you would try art dates with your friends, or if you have done it and what your experiences have been, and what you noticed about their art styles and how they differed from yours. I am also not good at finishing sketchbooks. I see a lot of sketchbook tours on YouTube. I don't think I could ever do a sketchbook tour, because even in high school, my sketchbooks would never be filled all the way through. I would jump in between pages, and there would be different drawings and projects on those pages, and then I would leave space in between to make sure that I had enough room for that current one. And so I have just so many blank pages in my sketchbook. And yeah, even now I have a hard time finishing sketchbooks. If they're small, like the tiny ones that I've made in a previous video, then it's easier to fill those out because I feel less pressure. And I'm mostly just doing regular drawing exercises in those. But if it's a thick sketchbook, I have a hard time committing. I always finish like halfway, and I feel like just doing one-off art projects is better for me. It's easier for me to finish, and even that can take weeks or months between projects. And I've researched different styles of how to motivate yourself to finish a project. There's so many suggestions out there on the internet, and I have tried a lot of them. And the thing is, for me, I will build a routine that will work for like 2 weeks, and then after that, I guess the novelty of it wears off, and so I'll just revert back to my old ways, and yeah, I'll just end up procrastinating. But there will be times when I'm so motivated to finish a project and I have the time to dedicate to that project, so I'll just finish it in a day. I wish that I could be more regulated with finishing my art projects, but that's just the nature of it for me. Another thing about the art dates with my friends, all of us consider ourselves amateurs, or maybe around mediocre range. We definitely wouldn't consider ourselves professionals. We're all still at the learning stage and trying to figure out not just what works for us, but also how to constantly improve our technique and our art. And so it was fun following a tutorial, and then for we also noticed while we were following the tutorial, there were a lot of things that we wouldn't do on our own. For the first example would be prepping a canvas. A couple of us were used to just going in to the painting and just creating the shapes, and then later on the highlights and the shadows. But with this tutorial, it really brought out different techniques that we're not used to. So that was interesting to learn from. For our next art project, there's no video tutorial for us to follow, but we do have a reference photo that we're going to do. So that will be interesting to see how we each approach that. I haven't even started sketching out on the canvas of where to place everything. One of my other friends, the one that finishes her art projects really quickly, she's already sketched out where everything will go. So I still have to do that. And that's another good thing about these art dates, is that because there are other people involved in this project, it motivates me to finish things quicker. And I think that's also another thing that I found while doing art in school, is because there is a deadline and because there are other people involved, it's easier for me to finish a project because it's expected, and yeah, there are grades involved. When I'm trying to motivate myself to finish a project, it is very difficult because essentially there is no deadline. I need to make one, but it's kind of like an imaginary deadline where it will get done when it gets done. And sometimes it's even hard to figure out when an art project is completely finished. Sometimes it gets to a point where I could add more, but then I realize, no, I don't wanna keep adding more. I'll just finish here. But yeah, it's hard to motivate myself to finish an art project. I realize that. But when other people are involved and there are deadlines, it's easier for me to finish. So maybe I should start incorporating more deadlines. That did help when I was setting up my small art business, was to try to have a deadline to put things out, to finish comics, to finish paintings or art blogs. Of course, there would be times when I couldn't finish at a certain date, so things would get pushed back. But I am grateful that I have been able to finally set up my art business, put out a few art blogs and webcomics, etc. So I should congratulate myself on doing that, because that is a very difficult thing for me to do. And yeah, as you can see in the painting, I added some little lupines, some purple lupines in the bottom, because I thought they looked really nice. And also in the reference photo, there are some lupines in the reference photo. I am also adding some falling cherry blossom petals, because I find that it looks really pretty. And you'll see me attempting to sign my name, and I do sign my name on the painting, but I didn't like how it came out, so I ended up painting over it because I didn't like how the black didn't harmonize with the rest of the painting. So I paint over it again, and then I redo my signature in white, and it looked a lot better. And now for a brief message. This is my website, rayclairedelune.com. I offer free webcomics and merch that I've based off of those webcomics, including printable coloring pages and also printable planners. I offer keychains and more. I also have a free art blog, and I also offer a membership page for those who want more. Hope to see you there. And here are some shots of the final painting. It's now hanging in my bedroom. There are days when I want to add little things to it, but it's fine. Thank you so much for watching this video. Feel free to check out my other videos, and I hope you have a lovely day. Take care.